Good evening. I'm here to advocate for the decriminalization of psilocybin mushrooms in Boulder County and Boulder City. I come to you as a homeowner, a professional, and a spiritual guide. I've lived in Boulder for 10 years. I also went to college here many moons ago, and I hold a master's degree from Case Western Weatherhead School of Management. I work as an instructor of executive leadership programs at Harvard Business School, and as a consultant and executive coach to large global organizations. I also run a leadership program for women changemakers on the spiritual path. I'm an ordained priestess, a spiritual guide, and a shamanic practitioner. With my husband, a Christian pastor who spoke to this council 2 weeks ago, I co-founded a nonprofit spiritual organization here in Boulder. I've spent 30 years on the shamanic path, and I have studied with a number of First Nations wisdom keepers. I currently work under the mentorship of an Indigenous grandmother, a lineage holder, and I recently completed a year-long training within a Native American lineage tradition as a ceremonial guide working with what Native Americans call plant medicines and what Christians call sacraments. Psilocybin mushrooms have been an important part of my spiritual life for 10 years. This is a safe and sincere form of prayer, and it has generated the most significant experiences of my spiritual life. I have witnessed many people receive spiritual guidance and healing from this practice. I consider it to be a protected form of prayer under the Religious Freedom Restoration Act. So I'm here today with all of my training, skills, and responsibilities as a spiritual guide to ask you to decriminalize psilocybin in Boulder for use in spiritual ceremony.
Thank you so much for your testimony.
Cool. Hi, all. First off, Aaron and Junie, congratulations and best of luck on upcoming HC10 race, and thanks for your service to the city and to the state, and thank you all. My name is Aaron Gabriel, AG for short. I am a eco-psychology graduate from Naropa and a developer relations engineer at Google, and a proud Boulder resident. I want to speak a little bit to what place I think Boulder can hold and what I think our potential is, because I think Boulder is a really interesting space. We have two amazing educational institutions here, and we also have a lot of really awesome tech from big companies and startups emerging. And there are many who compare Boulder to kind of like a new Silicon Valley. And Silicon Valley is this hub of innovation, but also we've seen a lot of gentrification. And I think we can experience where some of that is happening here in Boulder as well, that there's big wealth inequalities and a lot of not great issues, not great things that we'd like to see probably addressed to be a more inclusive and progressive city. But I think our potential is great because we have so much intelligence here with our educational universities, and with the innovative tech hub. And I think we can do more as a community to look at what these different voices are and look at how we can include these different voices and how we can bring more voices to the table to make sure that as we are this hub of innovation, we can also do it in a way that's really inclusive, intelligent, and well-meaning. I think that Naropa, for example, is really weaving Eastern Western philosophies and bringing a more integrated worldview together. CU Boulder also awesome cognitive science department, neuroscience, amazing environmental studies department, a lot of really beautiful things. And I think we can do a better job of honoring the intelligence that's present here and bringing more voice to the table to move things forward so that Boulder can continue to be a hub for a really beautiful new way to move forward as humanity. But I think it requires us to be very honest. And I'm going to give a +1 to everyone advocating for decriminalizing nature and psychedelics, because I think psychedelics can represent a really important point in terms of this shifting worldview. So thank you so much for your time, and thank you all for your service.
Yes, thank you, City Council, for the opportunity to speak today. I'm here in support of the decriminalization of psychedelics in Boulder. I have a degree in cognitive neuroscience, plus a master's in engineering from CU Boulder here. I've worked for much of my career in the development and commercialization of medical devices and pharmaceuticals, often recruiting internationally known physician thought leaders who give keynote presentations at specialty medical conferences. These psychedelic medicines are very safe. considering what's called the therapeutic index, the ratio of the effective dose of a substance to the potentially lethal dose, these serotonin 2A receptor psychedelics are safer than aspirin and caffeine. I serve as the executive director of Consciousness Hacking Colorado, a 501c3 filed nonprofit whose mission it is to build community around the intersection of meditation, technology, psychedelics, and spirituality. We have well over 1,000 local members, host events every month in Boulder, and we draw participants from their 20s through their 70s. I hear many, many stories of the positive effects of these psychedelics in people's lives, and I have my own experiences that contribute as a net positive to my life. What's closest to my heart is the volunteer work I do with True Community Care, the only nonprofit hospice in Boulder County. Every week, I'm present with the dying and their families, and it's an honor to support in some of the most vulnerable moments of their life and death. There's tremendous potential for these psychedelic substances to be used safely and responsibly, especially to support people to have more comfortable and humane experiences with death and dying. September 6th, I'm hosting an event focused on psychedelics for death and dying. We already have overwhelming interest from nurses, physicians, clinical administrators. Our entire adult population can benefit from the decriminalization of psychedelics, and I humbly ask you to keep our elderly and our dying in your hearts and minds as you consider this topic. Thank you for your time.
Hi, my name is Ryan Yashua. I'm a software engineer living in Boulder County. I'm here today to let you know that I am in favor of Boulder decriminalizing psychedelics, and I'm asking you to make that one of your top priorities. There are many reasons to decriminalize psychedelics. To me, the top reason is that many people are using psychedelics to heal from various mental illnesses. One example that can be found on Johns Hopkins' website as a press release is titled, "Psilocybin Treatment for Major Depression Effective for Up to a Year for Most Patients, Study Shows." In America, we believe in freedom, yet the government can arrest people and put them in jail based on what substances they choose to put in their own bodies. Psilocybin-containing mushrooms are classified as Schedule I, which means a drug that has currently no accepted medical use and high potential for abuse. But the federal government is currently funding research into their medical use, and studies have shown that they are not addictive. If you oppose or are on the fence about decriminalizing psychedelics in Boulder, I strongly recommend you watch the new How to Change Your Mind documentary series on Netflix by Michael Pollan. It explains why these plants and fungi were made illegal in the first place, and shows how they can help with a wide variety of mental health issues like depression, PTSD, and OCD. Decriminalizing psychedelics may not be a priority for the City Council yet, but it is a priority for the people of Boulder County, as you can hear by the number of comments on this issue today. So again, please make decriminalizing psychedelics one of your top priorities. You likely have a family member, a friend, a neighbor, a member of the community that you know that is suffering from one of these mental illnesses, and psychedelics can help them. Thank you.
Hi, thank you for letting me speak tonight. I live in Boulder. I'm a licensed psychotherapist in Boulder. I also teach at the Graduate School of Psychology at Naropa, and I hold a board position for a nonprofit, the NOAC Society, whose mission is around changing the dialogue around psychedelics, bringing community engagement in to allow for a more diverse and dynamic conversation. So I'm sure it's not a surprise to you that I'm here tonight to speak in favor of the decriminalization of psychedelics within Boulder. You know, from a therapeutic stance, I recognize the healing potential that these different plant medicines hold. It is really difficult for me as a therapist to read the research, to understand the impact, and to have clients come in with some pretty profound trauma asking about this, and having no way of allowing them the autonomy to make choices in how they heal. Decriminalization, of course, is not legalization, but it lowers the potential risk of arrest for an individual making a choice for themselves. And when I say individuals, I'm talking about individuals and who are professionals, who are elderly. These are not drug seekers. These are people seeking a path through some pretty deep pain. And with decriminalization, that allows Boulder to become a hub for harm reduction. More information can be.
Okay, I'm afraid your time is up, but thank you for your testimony.
Thank you.
Thanks for that. Now I have some council members with comments. Mark, Nicole, Tara.
I guess this is a question for our police chief. We've heard a lot of commentary today and in past meetings about the decriminalization of psychedelics. As a practical matter, have we been arresting people on that basis? Has that been a major area of concern within the law enforcement considerations? I'm just trying to get a handle on what the scope of this problem might look like.
I am not currently seeing our chief online, but oh, there she is.
Sorry, my computer is not working very well. I had to switch computers. Council member, you're asking about the legalization or decriminalization of mushrooms?
Yeah, I mean, is it a problem that are we engaged in a great deal of active enforcement of that people are concerned about, or they simply want the imprimatur of the city of Boulder on that practice?
We do not see the level of issues with the psychedelics. We do get complaints from the university setting, and we do have issues with the student population. But as far as the vast majority of drug issues that I see are with methamphetamine and the fentanyl epidemic that Colorado is experiencing. As always, unintended consequences of these decisions are very long lasting. And I would just caution, a lot of study needs to be done. I come from a state that I've always supported legalization of marijuana, but I think that the unintended consequences of some of these decisions are starting to be seen now in Colorado. So I think it requires a lot more research and a lot more study to understand this.
Thank you, Chief. Appreciate it.